From Mombasa, from Nairobi, and right now we're speaking to Wanyere Kihoro, who is a land economist, to just understand how did we get here. This has been an issue that has been there for decades. How did we get here?
I think we started with colonialism, a period of 70 years between 1895 and 1963, when our people resisted colonialism. Because colonialism during that period, they took away most of the lands from in the coast province, in central province, in the Rift Valley province, everywhere where there is a fight today, you trace it back to colonialism. Because our people also thought, at independence 1963, there would be a bit of more equitable distribution of land. But the Lancaster House Conference in 1963 refused to do that because, like I've heard today, recognizing titles that have been issued has become now the impediments to resolving or reforming the land question in this country. So I think we have gone wrong because we have failed to use land for production. This country, over a period of 50 years, has grown in population from 7 million to 40 million.
But really the problem is in the distribution of this land.
Yes. I think that is the problem, because during the colonial period, if you look at what 4,000 settlers in this country took, they took 10 million acres.
Kihoro, that was when the colonialists were here.
Yes.
After independence, 1963 to now, we're still facing the same challenges.
White settlers back to now to black settler. That's what has happened. That we had the white settler, 4,000 of them, and today if you count the people who own substantial land in this country, maybe 2,000, 1,000, and they own close to 60% of the arable land in this country. So that is the problem. Growth of population, holding on to the colonial tenure that was there 100 years ago. It is dismantled in Britain, but in this country it still runs. So that is the problem. So
you have a couple of people who hold large chunks of land. How do we solve this?
I think a question of saying that people can only be resettled, like the IDP or the squatters, they can only be resettled after buying land from those people who have grabbed it, basically. They have used government machinery.
Buy grabbed land, okay.
You're actually being told to buy grabbed land. But if you look at the leaseholds that they hold, the 99-year leasehold that they hold, it says the government is giving you a lease for 99 years, so long as it does not want the land. So the government has got the power to say, now there is need for land because our population has grown from this level to that level. We need so much amount of food that we don't have. We can't be buying food every year for our people. So the government can be able to revoke some of the titles. But not say every time the government is going to take land, it must be sold. But those 2,000 people, how many times has the Kenyatta family sold land to the government?
Kihoro, apart from the issue of population, really, can the government come in and say there has been a lot of injustice, the people who barely own land, we need to get this land and redistribute it?
I think even the people who hold on to the land today, if they are sensible, they will just denounce that kind of very selfish ownership of this country. They haven't created the land. The land is created by God. Why they continue selling it to our people and sell it like 15,000 acres sold recently from Saudi Ranch? That was sold to the government for 1.6 billion. 15,000 acres. Imagine somebody who hasn't done anything on the land is getting 1.6 billion. We can never be able to set our people that way. The IDPs are still where they fell. Many of them are still there. So I think time has come for the government to revoke title in respect of a lot of agricultural land, because there is need to revoke it and reset our people.
Kihoro, stay with me. In just a few minutes, we're getting back to this discussion. In the North Rift, land and insecurity remains related. Two historical matters that residents eagerly await a resolution. Tonight, Mercy Kandia takes a look at the state of land, insecurity and reconciliation in the North Rift, one of the areas worst hit by the post-election violence blamed on land issues.
The vast North Rift region has 6 counties, 6 cosmopolitan counties. The people of the region have varied opinions concerning the current political state. But 2 issues are yet to be fully addressed here in the North Rift. These 2 issues are land and insecurity. Turkana County is one of the largest counties in the North Rift region that is now making headlines after the discovery of the black gold. But even as the precious liquid in the belly of this land promises to uplift Kenya into the league of oil producers, bandits and cattle rustlers are shooting their way through the villages of Turkana, leaving in the wake a trail of death and poverty as they drive away thousands upon thousands of livestock. Just last week, 6 people were left dead after a raid here.
Kwa nini serikali na wacha tuje watu na Korogwana, Turkana, Pokoti, Turkana, sasa itakuwa nani?
Land is a precious and emotive issue in the Rift, while some own huge tracts of land running into thousands of acres. Some counties like Trans Nzoia continue to be crippled by the burden of squatters, and this has become a campaign platform milked dry by politicians practically every election year, only to be forgotten as soon as the election results are announced and they settle into their cozy new political offices. To make matters worse, the new tragedy of internally displaced persons thrown out of their land in ethno-political conflicts has swollen the squatter and landless numbers, especially in Uasin Gishu County. When others were resettled by the government under the Operation Rudi Nyumbani initiative, these remaining IDPs had no land to return to.
An agenda that is worth discussing.
Retired Major John Sei, Chairman Emeritus of the MIOT, the registered Kalenjin Council of Elders, believes that such injustices started when the citizens and the leaders of Kenya abandoned the moral obligation to hold dear the welfare and safety of every Kenyan individual. A gap in society revealed every election year. The apex of this and the most painful reminder of the depth of this problem was the 2007 post-election violence.
The insecurity comes up not because there is a new agenda that is causing insecurity, it's just because the past has not been dealt with.
Say tells me that plans are underway for a meeting between various councils of elders of different communities in the region and the provincial administration to encourage tolerance.
The elders have a role to play because there is a saying, palipo na wazee haliharibiki jambo.
Looking at that story by Mercy Kandia, of course, it paints the picture that these conflicts will not end until the land issue is resolved in the country.
The conflict will not end, and now you can see during the last 20 years of multi-party politics in this country, the conflicts have actually intensified. The amount of violence we had during the last election 5 years ago, many people see it as a climax of an inevitability, of people ending up fighting over a very scarce resource, very important. Our country has failed to industrialize. There is no other important asset or valuable resource you can have other than land. So with the 100-year-old colonial tenure still with us today, it's inevitable that violence will continue, it will intensify, more will be killed, and the leaders will continue shedding crocodile tears every time there is violence, but it is inevitable. They have to dismantle the colonial system, and I agree with many of the observations that are coming up today, that it is the colonial system that we are still working, that is the source of the conflict we have 50 years down the line of independence.
Kioro, politicians have largely been blamed for the land injustices in the country and for fueling the violence and the conflicts that you're witnessing right now. We'll come back to that and talk about that. Let's